What is good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video, we are going to talk about finding Nintendo games but not spending a lot of money. We got a few tips that we've come up with over the years of video game hunting, toy hunting, and guys, I just felt like all of these tips needed to be in a video to share with y'all. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Guys, the very first thing you can do to find games cheap, first of all, you gotta look for them, man. You can't just be like, oh, I'll never find games. Like, you actually have to go out and look for them. And the places that we're gonna talk about. Number one, this is somewhere that I feel like most people would not really expect to find good deals, but believe it or not, you can definitely find good deals. Not every single time, but it's like, if you go there over and over again, you're gonna find something. Guys, pawn shops. Pawn shops in general, some of them actually price stuff way under than what they should. Some price things way over than what they should. So it's one of those things, like if you've gone to a pawn shop and you just had a bad experience, try going to other pawn shops, because a lot of pawn shops have video games. A lot of pawn shops are looking to cut deals. You can usually negotiate. Let's say you come across a Nintendo game at a pawn shop for $10. Now, let's say that game has been sitting at this pawn shop for weeks, and that game has not moved at all. No one is showing any interest in that game. You can ask, hey, would you take $8 for it? Or maybe would you take $5 for it? A lot of the times they just want to get this stuff out the doors. They want to make a sale, and they're cool with cutting you deals, because a lot of the times pawn shops get stuff in and they get it really cheap. They might have been paying like 50 cents for one of those games when they walked in the door. They might have paid $1 per game. So go to pawn shops. Don't be afraid to negotiate, because like I said, a lot of the times you can end up getting a good deal just by negotiating, just by asking. Guys, number two, we already talked about pawn shops. We got to talk about thrift stores. We've got the Salvation Army. We've got Goodwill. We got those random mom and pop thrift stores. We got the church thrift stores. There's all sorts of thrift stores out there, guys. And you just have to go and look. Once again, said at the beginning of the video, if you're not really going to put any work in or any extra effort, you're probably not going to find deals, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with just getting on the internet and ordering a game if that's what you want, or if you'd rather play it digitally and you just want to download the game, that's cool too. At the end of the day, if you're playing your games, I think that's the most important thing. If you have the time, I know not everyone has time to play games, but hey, let's at least try to make some time. But guys, thrift stores in general, you can find really good deals. You just have to go and look. Now, the thing is, a lot of other people are doing this. So just because you get to that thrift store and you don't find anything, that doesn't mean every other thrift store you go to in that same day, you're not going to find a single thing. That doesn't mean you have to completely give up after just going to one thrift store and not finding anything either. You got to come back. You got to go back the next day. You got to go back the next week. Whenever it is, like, you just have to keep going. You got to put that work in, guys. But thrift stores in general, honestly, that's where we have found a lot of our Nintendo collection, a lot of our video games in general, a lot of the figures you see back here. Thrift stores, pawn shops, definitely need to go to both. Number three, if you have them in your area, I know some different countries do not have them, but luckily here in the US, we have plenty of them. Garage sales. Now, of course, there's kind of a garage sale season. If you live in Florida or somewhere where it's warm pretty much year round, you don't have to worry about that necessarily, but I know other areas it gets really cold, and for half of the year, you're not going to see a single yard sale or garage sale in your area. But if you have the chance, guys, wake up early, get out there, you will definitely find all sorts of cool stuff. You're going to find video games, you're going to find toys, you're going to find weird collectibles, just all sorts of stuff will definitely be at these garage sales. Once again, you got to have the mentality of, hey, you might not find something every single time you go out. You might not find anything for the entire day. It's definitely happened to me multiple times. It can definitely happen to you, but you cannot get discouraged. You gotta just keep looking. You have to keep looking. You gotta stay on the hunt if you want to find these games on a budget. Number four, guys, trades. Trading in general. Find friends that have stuff that you have. Find friends that have stuff that you want. Like, do trades. And the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be video games for video games. Let's say you have a bunch of action figures, right? Like over here, you can see various action figures. You got Donkey Kong up here, Mario's and stuff like that back there. You can't really see them because it's kind of far back. But let's say, for example, one day I was like, man, I don't want this Donkey Kong anymore. This Donkey Kong right here, I forget what year it's from, but he was worth, last time I checked, at least like 50 bucks. I got him really cheap at a flea market, which by the way, we'll touch base on those here in just a second. But yeah, I found him really cheap. Let's say one day I woke up, I was like, tired of that Donkey Kong, I want to get rid of him. Let's say I got a buddy over here who is like a huge Donkey Kong enthusiast. I could be like, yo dude, what do you have for trade? Do you have any video games that I might be interested in? I want Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, and 64. Do you have anything like that? Maybe we could work out a fair trade. Boom, see you later, Donkey Kong, hello, new game. Or depending on the value of the game, maybe you can end up getting a few games. So trading in general is always a really good idea. Honestly, if you have a good local video game store, I know there's a lot of retro game stores out there. Some of them are really amazing. Some of them, you know, you go in there and you're like, dang, these prices are higher than eBay. What's going on? That's just what happens sometimes, unfortunately. But you can go to these game stores and you can take stuff that you don't care about anymore, old video games, whatever. If they also sell toys, you might be able to trade some toys in. You can trade in those games, and let's say you got like 10 Nintendo Wii games. Let's say they're just like whatever games you don't care about, not necessarily like bad games, but games you already played. You can take those games, trade them in. Now you might not get 10 new games out of it, but you might walk away with like one really awesome game or maybe even two. So trading in general is something to keep in mind, and it can definitely help you out and definitely get you some new games in your collection or toys, collectibles, whatever you're after. Number 5, guys, kind of in that same field of going to yard sales and garage sales, flea markets. If you guys have flea markets in your area, you can wake up early. Once again, it's like that early bird gets the worm phrase. It really is kind of true when it comes to this type of stuff. You got to think there's tons of other people out there looking for the same stuff that you love. You're probably not going to be the first one there. If you are, best of luck. You're probably going to find some deals. People set up at tables, usually outside of flea markets, and then you have booths on the inside. A lot of the times, people are willing to negotiate as well, and you can find some really cheap and awesome games. You just got to go looking. You just got to find them. Pretty much the end of this video. I just wanted to share a few tips. There's tons of other tips out there. Maybe we can save some more tips for a different day, for a different video. Drop some comments and let me know how you find cheap Nintendo games. Do you just get on eBay and bid on different auctions? Because that's also another idea. People do that all the time. Do you like to trade? Do you like to go hunting for this stuff at thrift stores, yard sales, pawn shops, wherever? Drop those comments. I love hearing from you guys. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check out some of the other content here on this channel. We're covering a lot of Nintendo news. We're doing unboxings, and we're doing Nintendo hunting videos as well. So y'all make sure to check out all that stuff if you are a fan of Nintendo. Guys, until next time, I appreciate all of y'all. Peace.